Hey you guys, so I decided to be lazy and sit on my couch. I am so sorry. And I just yawned. What are we having? Some of the things we're having are dishes that you guys have already seen on my other holiday videos. We are having, for a meat, we're having Cajun style chicken, roasted chicken. My man does not eat pork. I'm really not a big fan of pork roast or ham or anything like that. I like pork for breakfast, but I try to stay away from it. And I hate turkey. I hate to say it, but I like turkey legs, but turkey in general, I don't like. I know, right? I know. As far as sides go, I will be having dressing, honey. I have to have that dressing, y'all. I will be having butternut squash. We'll also be having creamed spinach. And what else? Along with that roasted chicken, we'll be having carrots and yams. And then for desserts, gotta talk about the desserts. Are you kidding me? We will be having coconut custard pie, which is very similar to buttermilk pie if you're used to that. It's just a custard-based pie. Pecan pie, and I'll be making hot water cornbread, of course, and cranberry sauce, okay, from scratch. All right, so y'all, you notice I added that from scratch part. Let me tell y'all something. I'm from East Texas, okay, originally from Longview, Texas. All my family's from Texas, and that's just, you know, we're from Texas, so we believe in cooking from scratch. I never had stovetop in my life. I grew up on eating cornbread from scratch. I didn't even eat boxed cornbread until I got into college. That's how, let me tell you how country we are. We are so country that I did not know that they sold vegetable oil in liquid form. I thought that I can't believe I'm admitting to this. There's literally aisles and rows of shortening in certain parts of Texas, and I thought that, you know, everyone knew what Crisco was and shortening. Key thing about a good dressing, and I'm going to start off with what I'm going to be making first and showing you guys tomorrow. I'm going to be making first my stock. I make my stock from hen. And hen is basically a female chicken, okay? That's all it is. It's a female chicken. So I will be making a hen or chicken stock, okay? Chicken stock takes a long time, minimum 8 hours. That's how my mom always made it. The people I grew up always made it with a chicken stock. The bread's another big important one. We rarely ever use a cornbread mix, okay, because a lot of the mixes have sugar in it, and that's the thing about a dressing, is that you don't want any sugar in that dressing. If you make sugar, you put sugar in it, that's fine, but there's a big difference when you actually eat it. So I will show you guys next what I'm going to be making. Not really just going into detail, but just putting everything together, and this would definitely be a two-part video. If you have any questions or any comments, please post below, okay? See you guys in a second. Bye. I'm not going to do this, you know, very formal, but I'm just going to show you guys that I use the cornmeal by Quaker. Any cornmeal would do, and I follow the recipe on the back of this. Again, omitting the actual sugar. Alright you guys, so right now I'm just going back, alternating between the flour and the cornmeal. I am using a measuring cup, however I'm eyeballing it. I'm looking for, I know what it looks like. I made cornbread a number of times, so by now I know what it looks like. I'm doubling up the recipe because I'm using a cast iron skillet for this cornbread. I'm adding salt. You add your dry ingredients first, and then your wet ingredients, basically. And another thing I'm doing differently is I'm actually going to add my sage and poultry seasoning to the cornbread itself, along with a little bit of black pepper. Because again, I want to layer those flavors. So that is going to be, I think that's the poultry seasoning. Yeah. That way, when I bite into that dressing, y'all, I can taste those seasonings, and it is, again, layered throughout the dressing itself. So something I did this last year, and it turned out really good. So at this point, you're just going to see me mix the dry ingredients, not necessarily wet ingredients, but I will show you the final product of what the cornbread looks like once it comes out the oven. Alright, so at the bottom of the stock pot, you can see I have 2 small Cornish hens with black pepper. I'm putting in a small onion with the peel on. The peel is what's going to turn that broth a dark color. I'm next going to put in 1 whole garlic clove. And then I'm going to put in 2 bay leaves actually, and some thyme. And then I chopped up 2 carrots and 2 celery sticks. And this is called a mirepoix, I believe is what it's called. I think I called it a mirepoix once. And French is a mirepoix. And mirepoix is basically just celery, onion, and carrots. The Holy Trinity is celery, onion, and bell pepper. I'm going to pour cold water just to top this off all the way up to the level of the chicken. Put it on simmer for about 8 hours. Here are my cranberries. I have a cinnamon stick in there. I'm going to sprinkle in some allspice and then a cup of sugar. I wanted to do half a cup of sugar to half a cup of brown sugar, but I just was lazy and just poured the whole box. But that's still a cup. And then the liquid will be 1/4 of a cup of apple juice, juice from 1 orange, juice for half a lemon, and then some orange zest. And that's going to simmer for about 30 or 45 minutes. So here's my chicken stock or hen stock. If you see anything floating on the top, the brown bubble-ish, you don't want to skim that off. Those are impurities. And here is my cranberry sauce. Doesn't take that long to cook. The cranberries will actually pop. You'll hear a popping sound as they begin to cook. Alright, y'all. So this is... Look at all that butter, y'all. This is a stick of butter, 1 onion, and 2 celery sticks for my dressing. I've already crumbled up my cornbread. I used 5 pieces of toast. And I also deboned those hens and poured that into, or mixed this all together. This turned out to be the best dressing I have ever made to date. Even my man said it. I mean, I hate to admit this, but we finished a whole casserole dish of dressing within 2.5 days. That's how good it was. And I think all of it has to do with broth, to be quite honest. See all that broth there? This turned out to be a really big batch of dressing. You're going to see at the end here a casserole dish, but I ended up freezing half of a gallon bag of dressing too, because you can freeze dressing if you want to, and that's what I did. And I will be making that later on this week. Yes, honey. So I'm looking for a little cup to start pouring it in. I also went ahead and added some more seasonings. Even though I added seasonings to the cornbread itself, I still added more seasonings, you guys. Sauce. Now I'm gonna make my pies. All right, so I have everything laid out here for both my pies, and I have 2 deep dish pie shells. Ironically, they both cook at 350 degrees. So let's just get started with my pecan pie. I have 3 eggs. Alright, you guys, so I will explain a little bit what I'm doing here, even though these are not instructional videos for cooking. So most pie recipes start off with, if it has an egg, start off with an egg and you cream together the eggs, sugar, and any butter. I've been forgetting to add my butter. So you saw there I did a half a cup of brown sugar, a half a cup of white sugar. Now I'm doing a cup of light corn syrup. A lot of pecan pies do call for dark corn syrup, but I used the light corn syrup only because I knew I would be using the dark brown sugar, just a personal preference of mine. I just added a little bit more corn syrup there. Then a splash of vanilla. Again, I don't know the exact measurements, just putting it all in there together. So yeah, pecan pie is fairly simple. I have made pecan pies with caramel sauce too, and it came out really well. Just a very, very easy pie. You just have to make sure that you cook it all the way through and that it cools down so that it can firm up. And so there's my butter. I forgot to add that at the beginning. So you can see here I stirred in my pecans. You want to stir in the pecans. You don't want to mix them. Some people even put the pecans at the bottom of the pie shell and then pour the filling on top. Pouring it again in a deep dish container. Deep dish pie crust. And next I will show you guys how I make this coconut custard pie. Coconut custard pie. So again, starting off with some eggs. You probably can't see that. The recipe calls for 4 eggs, but I don't want to do that. I'm gonna use 3 eggs. All right, 3 eggs here. It's gonna slightly beat. Again, don't overbeat. It calls for 2.5 cups of milk. I'm also gonna top it off with some whipping cream because I think that's gonna make it creamier. I'm gonna add here about 3/4 cups of white sugar with a little sprinkle of brown sugar. I'm gonna add some allspice, some cinnamon, some nutmeg, some vanilla, some salt. Again, I'm not measuring, so don't ask me. Alright, so again, just stirring up those ingredients thoroughly. And just to let you guys know, I get a lot of my recipes or ideas for recipes through allrecipes.com. They're a great source because you can sort recipes by rating. So there goes my butter. I think I messed up there because that butter was supposed to go in earlier on. And while I was mixing, I could see the butter separating from the other ingredients. So I'm a little nervous about that, but we shall see. Added about 1.5 cups of coconut, I should say. And again, just pouring it in a deep dish. And I'm going to place this alongside of the pecan pie and let this bake off between 35 and 40 minutes or until it's very firm. I'm going to sprinkle on some brown sugar and some coconut and then let that toast. Or I'm thinking that I'm going to wait until it's done, put the brown sugar and coconut under the boiler for about 5 minutes, and that's going to be real pretty. So I will show you guys what these look like when they're done. Alright, you guys, this is my chicken. So I decided not to do a Cajun or Creole style chicken. I'm just going to do a regular chicken because roasted chicken because I have this poultry bouquet of fresh herbs. So what I'm going to do is in the cavity of this chicken, I'm going to place some onions, garlic. I have some thyme here and rosemary. And then these are all my seasonings, you guys. Everything from onion powder to cinnamon. So I'm going to peel all of these, place it in this dish here. I love these dishes. I got this from the Genie catalog. This allows you to bake and serve in the same dish because it's a pretty dish, okay? And then on top of that, I'm going to sprinkle on some brown sugar, some honey, some salt. What is this? I have allspice and nutmeg, and then I'll put on some cinnamon. Squash, butternut squash is very sweet, and so when you incorporate it with the yams and carrots, it's a great vegetable melody in my opinion. A lot of carbs, but oh, I'm out of breath. So when I come back, I should have everything finalized and show you guys our final dinner, what our dinner will look like. Okay, see you guys in a second. All right, you guys, I am finished. Here is the finish. Let me kind of back up so you guys can see everything. Finish of everything I made. Here is my place setting here. I did very simple fake gold plated dishes and a little bit of decor. You can see back there too. Alright, so let's start off with what I made. I have my hot water cornbread here. This is that cranberry sauce that I showed you guys. Have some creamed spinach. There's the coconut custard pie. We have the pecan pie. Oh, here's some, since I can't drink, this is my sparkling cider. I have my roasted chicken here, which smells good. We have some gravy that I made from the drippings of that chicken. We have squash. What is this? Squash, carrots, and yams here. And there's my dressing, y'all. It came out real good. It's very moist. So that is it. You guys have a great Thanksgiving, and I hope to have another video up, hair video preferably, pretty soon. You guys take care. Bye.